Let's listen to some actual music, and because we're talking a lot, and which camera should I look into? Because we're talking a lot, and am I even in this one? And it's hard to relate any of this to actual music. It's just like ones and zeros and a bunch of boring stuff. So here's a song.
You want to play this from the top?
Yeah, play it from the top. This is a song called Beast Blade off of the Galaktikon record, which you can get on brendonsmall.com if you like. But there's a lot of really cool guitar and there's a lot of cool different vocal styles. Now this is totally different than the Death Clock stuff. I'm singing in more of a lower register, and then I have some high falsetto stuff, and then I have some kind of louder belty outy stuff that happens later on, and it's just a different feel.
Yeah.
So
and it's a generally different sounding song.
Yeah, but the riff is pretty.
There's still elements.
There are elements. If you listen to the guitar riff at the top, it sounds like kind of a brutal death metal riff, but if it were double time, it would sound like craziness. But we decided to make it half time, and then try to make it melodic and try to throw in a lot of different elements. So here it goes. So there you go. That's
Hey.
That's the one more time. This isn't one more time. So that's the song. That's a song from Galaktikon, which is a big story that we're telling throughout the whole thing, and that's the bad guy song, and it's got a lot of different vibes, a lot of falsetto, a lot of screaming, a lot of breathiness, and
There's a lot of stuff going on.
there's a lot of stuff going
we're
on.
actually going to dig into the mix of this.
Yeah, we're going to dig into the mix and hear how the guitars are layered, how the guitars are recorded, what amp I use for the guitars, and all that stuff. We'll get into all that. But we can isolate a moment. I don't know what you have in mind, Ulrich.
We can go dig in and explore the vocals a little bit, you know. There actually is an Easy Mix plugin on this vocal track right here, on your main vocal track. This is the session that I got in from you, like when, like after you had taken everything back to your studio and recorded this. This is what you gave me and said, "Go make sense of this."
Yes.
And so this is this kind of ties into like previous segments,
right?
Of what, and it'll also tie into the next segment of mix preparation. But for this purpose right here, as you can see, there's like a bunch of vocals that are, you know, that we have to, we'll listen to them and see what they are and what they do for us. There's one thing, vocal 1 is a good place to start. We'll solo it if that's okay with you.
I'll leave the room for a while while you do this.
So we have, it's this plugin right here, vocal with slap delay. That's the Easy Mix plugin you were using.
Hey, I'm a new chill in the air. Better, my friend.
As you can see, it's a vocal recorded through a microphone. Yeah. There's nothing really extraordinary about it yet, other than it's the lead vocal. Yeah, which is extraordinary.
It's probably like tons of punch-ins, probably a lot of comping on my. I probably. Yeah, you can see. I think I gave it to you comped.
Yeah, little bits of you know, little snippets of vocals. Yeah. Everywhere, and then on this section right here, it looks like you doubled it up. Let's see what we have there.
Forge my breach through prison.
We got ourselves a harmony.
It's a harmony.
Which is a very exciting way to like differentiate a section.
Yes.
And build on a song. There's probably some whisper tracks in some places. Let's see what we have here.
A taster, I want her. The chain reactions.
It sounds
like
silly by itself. Yeah. Sounds silly by itself.
A lot of those things sound terribly embarrassing in that sense, but you can't really hear them.
But along with the lead vocal, it sounds like.
I taste her, I want her. The chain.
Oh, that's the answer part that you were doing.
There's like a question-answer thing going on.
Let's see where that one is. It must be this one here.
I want her. The chain reactions.
There you go.
Something weird going on there, yeah. I guess that's there. You'll find all kinds of weird stuff in these things. There's on the chorus, if you go to the chorus, I think there's a doubled line between the, if you can find what the chorus is. Yeah. But there's a doubled line. I think it's
is it this one here?
It's just an octave, I think, that I did.
Is it this one here?
This section.
See, we have. Oh, there it is. That's chorus even. How about that?
Yeah.
Take away the things that you trust, the things that you love.
So on the second half of that line, I decided to do an octave falsetto kind of thing.
I'll take away the things that you trust, the things that you love. I'll take away the things that you trust, the things that you love.
So there's that, and then the next line right after that, you'll hear
for it.
Something. Yeah, if you can find it.
Oh, there you go.
But you can hear clearly in that isolated headphone mix that you can hear the song playing in the headphones. Yeah. In that thing. Yeah. And there's like a lot of. Yeah, go ahead.
Share my pain with you.
So It's quiet somewhere there.
Yeah, it's was that the one? Oh, okay, turn the wrong one up. There you go.
Share my pain with you. I'm gonna share it with you.
With that, you get a lot of kind of extra transient white noise. That
Yeah.
Sometimes, maybe now's a good time to talk about your thing that you've experimented with before. Your track of.
Oh, like
Your
the
white
tape is?
noise track, your noise track.
Yeah. A lot of people go on about the analog being better than digital, and I've experimented previously with just putting a little bit of tape hiss throughout the entire song to glue it all
On
together.
a Pro Tools recorded session that's digitally recorded, like a whole track with just.
Yeah, just the tiniest amount of it, of little tape hiss, to glue it all together and give the illusion that it was recorded on analog.
You know what that does though, because I heard you did that, and I know that you did that on Death Album 1, if I'm not mistaken. You put tape hiss on the whole record, and it's interesting because I've experimented with that. Like I'd find like a super long decay reverb and hit like a snare, and it would go pa. And it would make that long sound, and I would just print that whole thing without the hit. And I tried that on my own thing. And it's a really interesting thing because sometimes our recordings can sound really, really clean, and sometimes it's a little unnerving and unreal. And almost like when you shoot a scene with for those of you who don't know about like filming a scene with like in a room, if we were to film this scene in this room, and we edited a lot of stuff, or we didn't want a lot of stuff, what we would need to do afterwards is get 30 seconds of room tone. And they use that and they duplicate that over all the cuts. So you don't notice a change in tone, because that camera and this camera and the camera next, all these different cameras would have a little bit different tone where they sat and where the microphones were in the room. And the way to make that all sound like it's one big fluid scene that may have been shot 3 hours from itself, or 2 different days, is this sound that kind of glues together room tone, the hiss, the natural sound of white noise that we're always hearing. So if we hear a song without any of that stuff, it's either a really clean, super poppy recording, or you manufacture it. In your case, you did, and sometimes it's an interesting thing. Sometimes you notice, and sometimes you don't.
Yeah, and I mean, sound is so important, and you can attest to that when you watch a YouTube video. You're more upset when the sound cuts out than when the video actually cuts out.
Right.
It's a weird thing.
Yes, the sound has to, if you shoot with the crappiest video and your sound is great, you don't have a problem, that reminded me, because there's a lot of hiss and white noise and a lot of stuff that kind of builds up over takes with the headphones, and those are those really mid-rangey headphones too. True. And you can hear that mid-range peeking through as I probably am pulling one off and cupping my ear and trying desperately to sing in tune. Yeah. There's a section after this, I think, where it's I think we build a lot of voices too that are more belty outy voices. But I am not, because I'm the one that recorded all the vocals on that, I am not doing anything from one take to another differently with a microphone or the EQ settings or anything. Yeah. I may get a little bit closer on the microphone. I put my mouth on the microphone on the quieter, higher parts, because if you try to belt out a falsetto or a whisper, it's just not going to work. True. You have to lower the volume of your voice and get closer to the microphone. And it's a technique that even if you're doing stand-up or singing live, the louder the note is, you see people singing and kind of doing a natural fadeaway on like American Idol or whatever stupid show, whatever crappy, horrible show that they do that on. But you use your own technique when you're in there, and whispering is also getting on it. And a high-pass filter will sometimes really bring out your whisper too. And I'm sure you notice that when you in
and a lot of that happens in mixing. Where we really like dig in and carve out some space and make certain things heard over other things. Like find the important frequencies for each vocal track.
Mm-hmm. Let's listen to the next section with that little kind of chromatic climb up, where it's the build up before the big kind of blowout outro guitar solo thing.
It's probably this stuff here.
Yes. That sounds terrible. It's terrible and embarrassing, but what are you going to do?
But you'll see it once it's doubled and stuff. It's
You know, by the way,
exciting.
my vocals sound okay when they're buried in a mix, and they sound believable and okay. You remember when all the Freddie Mercury stuff kind of got out, and they had like Bohemian Rhapsody, and you could listen to the isolated Freddie Mercury stuff? I couldn't wait to hear that, to hear him make a mistake, and his vocals are so perfect. I think they said, like Roy Thomas Baker said at one point, when he would double a track, they would phase. They would phase with one another because they were so perfect.
Singers like that are so extremely on.
Right.
You know, and like some of it is luck a little bit, you know, and some of it is technique. And I know some guys who could hear what they had done and just duplicate it.
Right. I remember asking you who's some of the best singers you worked with, and I remember what your answer was. I wonder if you do.
Well, one of the guys was Robin Zander
of Cheap Trick.
Yeah, he was. That's who I was referring to. It was like he put down this vocal and it was amazing, and they wanted to double it, and so okay, let me hear it, what I had done or what he had done, and he listened to it and he tried it a couple of times and it was spot on.
Yeah,
you know?
He is a great singer, and Cheap Trick is a great band. So anyway, you don't have to be Robin Zander to make a record. You can be a crappy guy who's hacking his way through, like myself. And I mean, the song sounds good. It sounds like it's put together after doing some nipping and tucking, a little bit of pitch correction.
And
some stuff not so pitch corrected.
But that's what we do. You know?
Yeah.
Like we record several takes and we pick the best ones, and like we put our best foot forward with an album, you know, which is a different thing from live, which is have the live energy in a band. So
I think Brian Beller told me something that I thought was kind of a smart idea about what recording is, because in one way or another we're cheating when we're recording. We're taking a lot of time to record one little part. We're not nailing it all in the first take. We're taking as much time as we need to. Like even when you watch the movie La Bamba and he's doing a million takes of Let's Go, it is us cheating in one way or another to make the best sounding thing that we can. And Beller said something that was really smart, which was a record is you at your best. It may not be true, but it's you at your best at that given time with those circumstances, with the financial resources that you have in the studio, etc. But that's what it is. It's you at your best. And that's what it is. It doesn't have to be, it's not totally honest. And I think you said, and this is very true of many things, a recorded song is like a sausage.
Yeah.
It tastes really good. That's all we need to know. You don't want to really know what's inside.
Yeah, the albums are like sausage.
There may be people inside of that sausage.
Quite possibly.
Soylent Green is people.
Soylent Green.
Okay, so let's keep going.
So were you referring to like what was going after the chorus or
you
the outro?
You can just play the whole song and I'll show you where it is.
We'll pull it from after the chorus here.
I'm gonna polish my lines. I'm gonna tell them just right. You better mark what I say.
Yeah, isolate that part with the vocals, and you're gonna hear what's going on the track. And it's not perfect, but it sounds good with the track. It all works together. And sometimes all that white noise kind of cancels itself out with all the other stuff that's going on, and you don't even hear it.
You better mark what I say. I'm gonna take it away. Woo, woo, woo. I'm gonna take it away. Woo, woo, woo.
Double vocal. Yeah.
So we have little bits of single vocal and some doubled woos in there.
Yeah. So there's one lead one, then they both come together and they sing that woo 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 part.
And you probably heard a bad edit go by.
Yeah.
Which is
that's part of my signature.
It's a part of the signature sound.
Yeah.
Before it gets to me. That's probably this section right here.
Yeah.
And so my job is to, once I get this stuff, to make sure this sort of thing doesn't happen, and I'll either pick this portion of it or this portion of it, depending on on what's going on.
Right,
And,
right, yeah.
You know,
so yeah, as I think you called them at one point, rogue edits that I do.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get anything down in a timely manner, and it isn't always pretty. And I think if I had all the time in the world and all the vocal power in the world, I'd probably try to make it smoother.
No,
I have to say
you
though,
would
I
still
think,
do the same thing because you want to get this stuff done, and,
Yeah.
and you want to.
I
like
think
you're
that-
focusing on one thing as opposed to the tedium of
Yes.
the other. You know.
I agree. I think there was a definite. This record is built to have. The idea was that I'm gonna have a studio record with tons of layers of stuff that hopefully all work together and make the music more powerful. When we got to the next Death Clock record, it was a lot more stripped down because this record was so elaborate. So I thought, let's make it drier, more kind of like what would Death Clock sound like live a little bit more. And Death Album 3 ended up being a contradiction to this record, not to Death Album 2, but to Galaktikon. And then the Doomstar Requiem is totally different because I didn't do as many layers. In some places I had like 50 voices in unison singing like something. And then I had single lines that were a little bit, I think a little less processed as this, you know, a little more kind of in character, so they could be a little bit more faltery at points.
Sure, yeah.
Because I have Nathan Explosion singing or Pickle singing or something, and it was a cleaner process, and a lot of that was better technique, I think, through my voice, better technique through my headphones, and being able to hear and then also not wanting to do a record as elaborate as this one.
Sure, yeah. And the Doomstar Requiem was character voices.
Yes,
like
it was
a lot of
character
them, so
voices,
it
but I still
wasn't-
had to have
wasn't-
them sound like they were in
Yeah,
tune
but it
for the most part.
wasn't Brendan.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
these were other people, like, if you will. You know, it was still you doing it, but
Yeah.
like they were in situations where you wouldn't have perfect
There was acting
pitch,
in there
you
too,
know what I mean?
yeah.
So it was
Yeah,
a whole,
they had to have
different animal.
conveying
basically, yeah.
emotion. Yeah, very different stuff. What else would you show in this thing? I think we'll probably get into the mixing of this thing, so we'll probably isolate some more stuff later on.
As you heard when I played back just a snippet of it before, was the kick sound was very different because this is like just a rough mix.
Right.
Basically at this point just kick and vocals.
Right.
So, because that's what you were doing at the time.
Yeah.
You know, you needed to hear the tempo of the song and whatever, one guitar that gave you the pitch and the vocals that you were doubling to or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's what goes back to what do I need to hear to make this happen?
Right, exactly.
You know, what's going to make it?
Oh yeah, when I'm doing my overdubs and my big finalizing and all the extra guitars that I'll layer and all the vocals that I'll layer, my mix in my room is crazy. It's just ridiculous. It's really guitar driven. It's really, then I'll turn up all the stuff and you won't hear any drums or any bass because I'm just working on vocals and guitars.
Sure. And Brian Beller's mix is completely
All bass
insane.
and no vocal.
No,
Yeah.
It's just kick and snare and bass, but the kick and snare are really quiet. It's really just bass, so you can hear his attack, and so you can lock in with the transients of the drums.
Yeah.